And now tonight, a seasoned Hollywood prop master who was approached to work on Rust says he turned it down at the last minute after spotting some major red flags. Was this movie a ticking time bomb from the beginning? We talked to the man who may have the answer to that question. Here is my exclusive interview with Neil Zaromsky.
I just wanted to do something really artistic and beautiful, resonant, memorable, that would stay with people for a long time. And this was that project, but for all the wrong reasons.
Neil W. Zaromsky is a veteran on movie sets, having spent 3 decades in Hollywood. So when his phone rang in 2021 about an opportunity to work as a prop master on the Western film Rust, starring Alec Baldwin, he listened.
They told me that it was a great story, a very taut, suspense-filled story with a backdrop of New Mexico sunsets. And I thought to myself, I could already see the movie forming in my mind.
But after days of meetings, those feelings started to change.
We were talking in late September, definitely the second week of September, and they were talking about an October 6th start. So there literally was virtually no time.
10 days to prepare for a Western full of shooting scenes, a job that Zaromsky says usually requires 5 weeks minimum.
I felt that they were being extremely loose and rather cavalier with the, with cementing this position on the crew.
Zaromsky says he voiced those concerns, requesting a staff of 5 trained gunsmiths and armorers. He says they agreed, but right before he left for the airport, he received an email.
They had made the decision to reduce my staff to 3. And they let me know that, please be aware that this is a low-budget, ambitious production. At that point, I felt that our entire negotiation fell apart due to bad faith. The clothes were in the suitcase. This is how close I came.
He decided to decline the job and responded to the email with a warning.
And the only thing I would do in closing is just suggest that you not deter from what I have delineated here on how to do this job safely, how to do it right, and how to staff it properly. I didn't want them to have a calamity. I didn't want loss of life. I didn't want someone to die.
Weeks later, while on a different set, he heard the news. Cinematographer Helena Hutchins was killed in an accident on the Rust set, and Alec Baldwin was holding the gun.
I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. And I had to go throw up in the honey wagon. And I stayed in there for a little while. And I was really heartbroken.
Zaromsky knew of armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, who was hired after he left the film, and is now serving prison time after being convicted of involuntary manslaughter in March.
I'm sentencing you to 18 months of incarceration. You alone turned a safe weapon into a lethal weapon.
She was over her head from the moment she took the job.
Prosecutors called Gutierrez-Reed's conduct on set unprofessional and sloppy, alleging she didn't completely check the gun that was given to Baldwin to make sure it didn't contain live rounds. Footage and photos shared during her trial showed cast members walking around haphazardly with firearms, and Gutierrez-Reed's ammo cart in disarray.
If the cart looked like the cart that I saw in these photographs and images from the set, there would be a release of duty for the technicians who were managing that. And it screams inexperience. It screams, I don't care. It screams, I'm not very good at this job. It screams accident waiting to happen.
Sorry.
You're okay.
Sorry.
Just relax. Just relax.
I'm so scared.
You're all right. Just relax.
It's the box that I got them out of.
Okay.
So I would never, in a million years, have a young person who was unseasoned, unskilled, and bare minimum credentials wrangle weapons on a major film with a major star.
Now that major star, Alec Baldwin, is about to have his day in court.
I take the gun out slowly, I cock the pistol, bang, it goes up, she hits the ground.
He's also facing an involuntary manslaughter charge that could result in prison time. He has maintained his innocence, saying publicly that he did not pull the trigger. Zaromsky says he finds that hard to believe.
I believe that he did pull the trigger because it's a revolver, and in order for that bullet to come down and be struck by the firing pin, you have to pull the trigger. But a corollary to that is if Mr. Baldwin is a seasoned actor, he should have refused that from anyone other than the armorer.
And Zaromsky says, as the star actor and producer of the film, he believes Baldwin knew the staff was cutting corners and even knew about Zaromsky's reason for turning down the job.
He is a producer, he's an executive producer, he's the star of the movie. So regardless of whether he was a laissez-faire or a hands-off producer, he would have been advised of all of those personnel changes, and he was more than likely notified that I did not take the job as well. You know, many people have said, well, Neil, had you been there, you would have been thrown into the culture on the set, and there's no knowing whether it still would have happened with you there. I can unequivocally say it would have never happened had I been on that set.
All right, so Baldwin faces 1 count of involuntary manslaughter and could face up to 18 months in prison if convicted. But this is important. In a major ruling a day before jury selection today, the jury selection is supposed to start tomorrow. This big ruling comes down today. The judge threw out a big part of the prosecution's case. She decided that Baldwin's producer title, everything you just heard about that, all the responsibilities that went along with it are not relevant and will not be introduced at trial. It is big news, especially when you consider, again, everything that Neil just said about what was happening behind the scenes, and it appears that Baldwin knew about it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider, and don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.